What's up YouTubers? Today I'm at the Bronte country in Haworth, and today in our blog we're going to look at the textile industry, and 𝗪𝗶𝗄𝗄 has actually found a gem in Haworth, and this is it. Now these guys go back about over 160 years and they're very unique in their products, high quality products, and our plan is to go in and have a chat with the managing director, and I can see 𝗪𝗶𝗄𝗄 here. 𝗪𝗶𝗄𝗄, I'm just saying you actually found this place, and I've read it on the website, and they do quite a lot of official accessories for Her Majesty's Queen and the various other things. I mean, there's a lot of heritage, and like you say, our fathers used to work in the textile industry, so it means a lot to see what's left over or how it's moved on, you know. But do go onto the website, and there's quite a lot of very niche products in there, but I'm looking forward to meet the director. So let's see what happens.
Yep, that's it.
Hello gentlemen, good afternoon. Good. I'm Robin Wright, I'm the MD. Come on in.
Okay, thank you, thanks very much. Right.
Welcome to 𝗪𝗐 Weaving.
Thank you very much.
We make things, the posh name is manufacturers of braid, ribbon and uniform accoutrements. It's the things that go on a uniform, rather than the uniform itself. And without our bits and pieces, basically it would be a plain suit. So this is our mannequin. We call him Dean. You're supposed to say why Dean. And we make the helmet furniture, the chin strap, the dress cord, the epaulettes, the medal ribbons, the buttons, the cordage, the embroidered bosses, the drum sling, the sash, the drum apron, the drum pad, the bugle cord, the belt, the lace, the gloves, the trouser striping and the drag ropes. And we also make spurs for the back of the boots. So head to toe, and when you take all that off, you've just got a plain jacket and trouser.
It's very intricate though, isn't it? A lot of hard work involved, isn't there?
There is, it's very labour intensive.
Robin, do you, as well as the military dimension, do you do any other types of costumes for other areas at all? Well,
we do. We do a little bit for film and theatre. It's not a continuing thing, because it only happens when the productions are being made. And the most recent one is we've done some of the things for the Crown, the Netflix series, some of the uniform accoutrement for that. But prior to that, we've done various period dramas, Master and Commander with Russell Crowe, Gulliver's Travels, the Far Pavilions, and probably the funniest of all is this. This is the Mummy and the Mummy Returns. We made all the binding for the mummies, and we had to weave it on one of the looms you saw upstairs, and then we dyed it in tea to make it look old. So it's a small part of what we do, but it's interesting.
What about any, like, I mean, do you do any stuff for music or anything like that? I mean, have you done any for any musical artists at all?
Yes, Michael Jackson, actually. Obviously, that's a while ago, but you remember some of his stage performances had kind of military theme.
Oh yes,
all the braiding on his tunic, and so a lot of the braiding and the frogging was on there. We worked with his tailor, and his tailor told me that inside those tunics he had water pipes. He had a little air conditioning units to keep him cool on stage inside that. So he had to make sure that when he was stitching our braid on, he didn't puncture any of the water pipes.
That's amazing, isn't it? And any other films that you can?
Do you know, there's so many, I can't remember them all, but those are the key ones. I think Russell Crowe was in Master and Commander, and at the time he had to lose a lot of weight, so the tailor who was fitting him for his epaulettes and so on had a mirror behind him, and all the back seam was open because he was too big to get into his tunic.
I think somewhere I read Raiders of the Lost Ark, or something.
Yeah, that's right. The scene in the Last Crusade, I think, is where Harrison Ford is faced with like a samurai guy who comes with him with a sword, and then basically Harrison Ford just shoots him.
That's right. Yes,
but around that guy, not Harrison Ford, around the Arabian Night, the sash he was wearing, that was made by us.
Fascinating, isn't it?
Fascinating.
Yeah. So as I said, these are the things that go on the tunics and to make the accoutrement. Other words, insignia, regalia. A lot of it's textile based, not all though, leather based. sheepskin in the corner. That's we also make equipment for the horses, ceremonial equipment. So we have the bridle bit, the saddle blanket, the stirrups, various horse appendages.
So all this as well?
Yeah, all the buckles and lockets.
All right. I was just thinking it's just fabrics, but obviously
it's the whole thing, isn't it? It's
yeah.
It's
the uniform,
whole thing.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's basically the MOD changed their buying patterns to want to buy the ensemble, so we changed with them to be able to supply the ensemble.
Have you had any made for yourself?
Well, actually, I'm a member of the Lieutenancy, West Yorkshire Lieutenancy. So the uniform that I wear is the navy blue one over there.
Well, the actual one that you wear, or is
Well,
it,
it's that style.
Oh, that's
that
style.
style.
Right.
Yes. So yes, to answer your question. Over the years, we've had mill trips to various parts, and these are the banners that have gone on the coach.
So, silly question. The workers, obviously, they're specialists. Is there some kind of do they go on training, or is it something they've just picked up on the job, or?
It's a case of sitting next to Nellie, who's done it for years, and learning on the job. You can't really, there isn't any training courses for this.
Right.
We do
Just
here.
seems very intricate, you know. Is it?
On the first place, it's narrow fabric weaving rather than
Right.
broadcloth weaving. The principles are the same, but the looms are totally different. And then the stitching and assembling techniques that they use to make these cordage. These are hand plaited. These tassels are handmade. All this trellis work is done by hand.
Right.
Would that be knitted as well, or is it?
It's trellis work.
Okay.
Or lattice
Oh, right,
work is
lattice
another way.
work, yeah.
It's an interlacing.
Okay.
The aigulets here. This is a plain cord. You'll see the machine that makes the cord later on, but all this is assembled by hand. It's ceremonial, and our shop window is things like, well, the changing of the guard outside Buckingham Palace, but also the trooping of the colour, the Queen's official birthday, and any official visit from an overseas dignitary, they'll receive a guard of honour. So that's the function we serve. Mainly for the Ministry of Defence, the Army, Navy and Air Force and Royal Marines. Also some to the police, to a lesser extent the police. But essentially any uniformed service. Anybody that wears a uniform has some insignia, either of the rank or the designation, what function they perform. This is where we entertain our customers, discuss their requirements, and if, like as you said, if there's input to the variations they want, we will debate them and discuss them in here.
Do you get dignitaries coming as well, or is it just maybe their procurement department?
Well, we've had two royal visits. We've had the Duke of Kent, 2002, and then Princess Anne came in 2014, I think it was, when we were 50 years old. We've been in Haworth for 50 years, so she came to help us celebrate that. So it's good to have a royal visit, official royal visit. She was very interested to look around.
I think she was fascinated.
Yes.
And what are those names across there? I noticed there's a memorial out there as well, just outside the building.
Well, outside the building is the Haworth War Memorial, which is the general war memorial, but this one is in particular is for the Oddfellows, and the Oddfellows Hall in Haworth became disused probably because of a reduction in numbers Oddfellow members, and the hall became sold. So they wanted somewhere for the Roll of Honour to go, and we offered it a home here. It is a registered monument. Those are the names of people who went to the war in First World War, and in the middle is the names of those who sadly did not come back. So it is a registered monument, and we had a rededication ceremony in this room. The local vicar came and rededicated it, and we had some dignitaries and all our staff. We had about 50 people in this room.
Right. Wow, look at this. Hello there.
Hiya. So these are the looms which weave the ribbons and the webbings.
So these, I presume they're of a standard to be able to stitch tough fabric as well, I presume, because they don't look like modern machinery, and I presume modern machinery won't be up to the job really, will they?
No, we've got over 100 machines here, and everyone's different,
Okay.
and they're all specific for a certain product. This will weave a medal ribbon. This yellow is trouser striping for the Canadian Mounties, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, commonly known as the Mounties. So the yellow stripe down the trouser. So every loom is producing a different product. This one's a 𝗥𝗲𝗺𝗲 and that goes on a drummer's tunic in the British Army. There's a photograph of the tunic on the top there. So all that lace then is stitched to a tunic. About 30 metres of lace on every tunic. And this is a woolen product.
Can you adjust things like the sort of stitches per, or is it threads per square inch? I mean, can you do all that sort of stuff on here as well?
Yeah, picks. Well, that's the density, the weave density. The picks per inch, or would be the term you'd use. Polypropylene for funeral directors.
All right.
For lowering coughing.
Lowering coughing? Apparently.
Oh, lowering coughing into the grave. Right.
That's just for any old straps.
All right.
Sort of generic 25mm webbing.
Wow.
There's a lot more of this juggling material as well.
Yeah, that's for
That's
this. Yeah,
Kevlar.
that's used in places like Cirque du Soleil. It's a Kevlar material. So the webbing will take paraffin and then they can set it alight and put it on the end of jugglers' batons and so forth.
All right, I see. It's much better.
So these are warping mills. So the stage one, before we can put weave the webbing, we've got to warp the threads on these machines. So we buy the raw material, whether it be in this particular case it's nylon, and all the cones are put on the creel, brought through the reeds, and then they're wound onto the bobbin, which is called a beam. And this is the warp thread that then goes behind the loom. And this will be a metal ribbon, and you can see, get an idea of what the stripes will look like already. So that's stage one, and then they tie it in behind the loom and set it running. That's the larger beams, right in on the floor. You also have the winding machines which are behind you. These machines wind the bobbins that go on the braiding machines, which we'll see in the next floor. So this area is rather the preparation. It's stage one, from the raw material that we buy to putting on the bobbins and the beams before it goes behind the looms. And then when it's woven, it will actually come back into this room down to the far end again, and that's where we do the finishing.
Yeah.
So that's watermark or 𝗺𝗆𝗺. A lot of the metal ribbons have this effect put on them, and this is the machine that does it. And then we would inspect, measure and reel up the product into rolls. It's called the blocking process. Watermark. Does that show up there?
Oh yeah, I can just about see it, yeah. Can you see it?
Watermarking, 𝗺𝗺𝗺. Fleur-de-lis, similar to the one you saw downstairs. All sorts of different grades. Right now this is the fleur-de-lis design. So there's the one you saw downstairs is an electronic 𝗥𝗲𝗺. This is a mechanical 𝗥𝗲𝗺. Okay. Before electronics were invented, the program is essentially on these pegs and legs. And this is a 𝗕𝗿𝗵𝗵. So there's the program. That's like the computer, a mechanical computer, which will tell the shaft when to go up and down to create the design. These are the forerunners of computers.
So you can sort of create most designs by changing
the way that you put these pegs, the sequence you put these pegs into this lag is the program. I'm just thinking the light coming that way. So this makes cord, and this is not one thread, it's 7 threads of gold wire, and that's pure gold on the outside.
It's real gold?
Yeah, I'm touching real gold with copper. It's a copper core with a gold outside. The copper gives its ductile nature, the gold is what you see on the outside. There are 32 bobbins here, and 16 are going clockwise and 16 are going anti-clockwise. And the technique is just like maypole dancing. In fact, it's called a maypole braider. Up the middle we have the cotton threads, which are the filler. If I turn this on, you can see it running. Yeah, we've got some maroon threads in here as well, which helps you to see what's going on. And that particular design is called 𝗪𝗶𝗆 𝗪𝗶𝗆. So this has got 65 carriers. But instead of going all the way around, they get to the needle and turn back again. And this makes the braid flat rather than round. This will be a 𝗪𝗲𝗺 stripe. It's flexible. It has flexible nature to it. This is weaving, so narrow fabric again, a bit like the looms we saw downstairs, but this is shuttle weaving.
So these shuttle looms?
Yeah. So you can see, like it matching the leg, see it weaving forward.
So, this is one of those things that your father brought?
Yeah. What's still there? In the showroom downstairs.
Yes, we did, yeah.
This is where it's woven. 𝗪𝗏𝗡 downstairs, that's the tunic.
That's right, yeah. So what's this issue for again?
So this is actually a drummer's tunic. So the musicians in the mass bands, whether the drummers or the buglers, this is the tunic they will wear. And then the banding varies between which regiment, whether the Coldstream Guards, the Grenadier Guards, the Scots-Irish, Welsh Guards, they all have the same lace but in a different sequence of. This is the Queen, the Majesty of the Queen. This is a regular officer's tunic. This is the gold lace. And he's also a bandsman. This is what we call a bandsman's wing, so a musician.
So is that a sample or is that being worked on currently?
This is a sample that's been finished actually. Okay. Sam Brown lost his arm, so he couldn't pull his sword out anymore. So he invented a device, a leather strap with a cross belt across it, so that it would support his sword belt. And they named that structure after him, Sam Brown. It's still worn today. Is it being a nice day? It's been put back again. The old one rotted away many years ago. Part of the condition of converting this was to put it back as it was originally. So there's no belly now. ringing in the morning to tell people get out of bed and come to work.
So all that side of the mill, I mean, in the picture you showed us downstairs.
Yeah.
So that side of the mill's all gone.
That's right, yeah.
Wow, what a little tour, eh? What a
No.
little gem.
Yes, it's much better than I expected, and it's just an eye-opener to realise that the mill is actually still running.
Yeah. And who would have thought small business like this would have connections with Hollywood?
I know.
Yeah.
And not small Hollywood, big
Yeah,
Hollywood.
yeah.
You know, big films and
Yeah.
superstars and.
Yeah. So every time you're driving by and you see a mill, never take it for granted. You don't know what's going on behind there. Anyway, thanks very much for following our vlog. Until we meet next time, peace out.